Hello everyone. Today we will talk about a different kind of condition called somatoform disorders or bodily a bodily presentation of psychological disorders. A group of psychological disorders where mainly the symptoms are expressed in the physical form. Okay, so we call them somatoform disorders. Even though it's a group of disorders, we are mainly focusing on two main disorders, somatization disorder and hypochondriasis. These are the two disorders we will be covering up in today's episode. So, what is this somatoform or somatization disorders? So, when people have some emotional issues, they are more comfortable in expressing them as physical symptoms. So when physical symptoms are expressed as a reaction to the psychological stress, usually they are presented as somatization disorders. So here they usually approach the physician and strongly believe there is a physical illness and they seek treatment for the physical illness. So by the time they actually approach the mental health professionals, they would have spent almost 2 to 3 years using medications for their physical symptoms. Do they really don't have physical symptoms? It's not like that. They will have obvious physical symptoms for which the physician would have been giving symptomatic medications like pain relieving analgesics and all, so which usually they feel relieved with that, and then their belief is confirmed that it is a physical condition. But then it can also be a possibility that it must have started like a physical problem. Even then the physical problem has settled, the psychological component has been maintaining it. So there are various factors why people do this kind of presentation of psychological stress or anxiety or depression. It could be an early experience of illness. So when someone has gone through a physical illness at an early age, and then usually they have this symptoms that are imprinted, and then it could be one possibility that there might be a secondary gain, people giving more attention to them, or sometimes it can be a material gain where more attention is given when you are sick. So, and it can also be as a coping mechanism when you are going through a high stress period. So whatever the factors or reasons could be, but then the presentation is mainly in the physical form. That's a somatoform disorder. Generally, this helps them to cope with the stress, but the coping here is not a very healthy way of coping, which we call maladaptive coping mechanism. Maladaptive as in it is not really helping them in the long run, because they are constantly worried about the distress or the impairment or the dysfunction that it might appear again, or it might impair them from functioning fully. So this constant worry and then looking for more reassurance is something that actually make them more distressed and worrisome. So here mainly, generally if you look at the onset and presentation of these symptoms, usually if you look into the details, there can be an unpleasant life event occurring around that time, which would have been the kind of a trigger, a starting point, and then even though the unpleasant life event would have passed on and the person would have moved on, but still the maintaining factor, that the physical symptoms that they have developed, a constant fear of they might come again, is something that plays on their mind, and then actually the symptoms might reappear. in reality. Okay. So this is a little bit about what somatization disorders, mainly the psychological stress reflected as physical symptoms. This is what we are trying to explain it. Looking at two different conditions, I will briefly explain somatization disorder and hypochondriacal disorder. So in somatization disorder, where the patient or the client usually express a group of physical symptoms. Generally they vary from digestive system to kind of skin infections, pain conditions to headache. These are the common forms, and usually what is more important to notice here is that there are symptoms here, and we can actually see a long standing dysfunction or impairment in their social life, family life and interpersonal interactions. Generally this kind of somatization is more common in women, and most of them would have started in their early age, in their 20s or 15s, when they have at an early age. So that is briefly about somatization disorder. The second one, hypochondriasis. As the name hypo says, a small bodily sensations or a group of minor bodily sensations make them believe that they have a disease that is of physical origin. So generally it is seen in both men and women, and then they are more worried about the impairment that it might cause, and then there is an underlying depression and anxiety in both conditions, as well as in somatization and hypochondriasis. The underlying psychological component is anxiety and depression. So they will be in hypochondriasis, mainly the worry is about disfigurement. They might be preoccupied with the nose being not straight or something that is kind of exaggerated out of proportion. So that is something happens, and it is usually long standing and fluctuating. Sometimes they say that the nose is not proper, sometimes they might shift that to something else. So they keep shifting, like how in somatization they keep shifting from digestive system to pain conditions. Like that there will be a variation, but mainly here the main worry is on the disease, physical disease in hypochondriasis, whereas in somatization the focus is on the symptoms, the group of symptoms. So that's a little bit about the types. Looking at what all the other conditions where other physical conditions where there can be a strong psychological component. There are a group of disorders that are being described. Like I'll just mention the names, we are not going into details of these physical conditions or disorders, like irritable bowel syndrome, hypertension, tics and spasms, insomnia, difficulty swallowing or eating, skin conditions, where there are obvious observable symptoms, but then it's mainly the psychological component that exaggerates them out of proportion. The second group, where it is mainly the excessive reaction, like in hypochondriasis, somatization disorder, pain disorder and hysteria. These are the conditions where the minor bodily sensations, it's mainly the reaction of these physical sensations that makes them worry. So other conditions like headache, breathlessness, chest pain, dizziness, low back pain, etc. So these are some of the physical conditions where there is a strong psychological component, and like I said, most of them end up in physicians or cardiologist clinics. By the time they actually reach, it is more than 2 years or 3 years. And looking at the main focus let's look at the belief system. What is making these clients or patients believe that it is so physical in nature? Then we need to look at a little bit on their belief systems that are holding this particular assumption. So there are a set of beliefs that we will look at it. The first and foremost belief is that, which I have already mentioned, where they have a physical, their strong belief that they have a physical condition and it is exaggerated out of proportion, and they think that it is harmful and then it might impair them. So that is one belief, that actually, like a cycle, it brings them back these physical symptoms whenever they actually go through the anxiety or stress. The second thing is about, they also see this evidence in the body in terms of symptoms. Like in hypertension, they see that they are feeling dizzy, or they are feeling very weak in their body, and then it makes them think that, oh, something out of proportion is going to happen, and then that kind of thinking will produce them more bodily reactions, because they closely observe the body for any minor sensations. So, and it actually looks for more reassurance. They keep asking whether their physical looks have changed, or do the family members see any difference in them, and then all these are interpreted as having something, a problem. This is how the cycle maintains. So this belief that they have a strong physical condition, and then their reactions and the symptoms, these are some of them that maintain the problem. So looking at the emotional reaction, the third belief is that they are worried about that they might live some dysfunctional life, which usually happens because they can't live a full life with a constant worry of whether there might be some problem. So it itself, that negative thinking process itself, make them bring that emotional reaction of feeling anxious and depressed about. And then the reactions like the changes in their mood, anger, and all these things. And also sometimes there can be a preventive component as a way of handling the stress. So this handling stress, when they are physically expressing their stressful reactions, people might be giving more attention to them, and then it is actually helping them to kind of comfort and cope with the stress. So these are some of the beliefs that are actually maintaining the problem, and some of them might also end up in some safety behaviors by collecting more medical information about their symptoms. And when they visit the physician, when the physician is giving some medical information, like say for example, if they have gone to a physician for a headache problem, and then they have the client has expressed a worry about having a brain tumor, and then when the physician tries to explain, or the neurologist tries to explain that if there is a brain tumor, there can be other symptoms XYZ, and then instead of understanding the information, actually they misinterpret or misunderstand the information. They actually start looking for those clues, what the doctor has mentioned may be a sign of brain tumor. This is how their thought process becomes, and then it actually starts, they actually start looking for more information, which is usually misinterpreted. And then they selectively look for only those symptoms where they feel that they get this confirmation that it can be a physical. So the selective attention to the physical symptoms make them actually bring the symptoms per se, and then that's how they are maintained. So this is a little bit about how these beliefs, negative beliefs about their own physical symptoms, actually increasing the problem. Looking at the management and how we can handle. So like I said, most of them end up in physician's office or a cardiologist office because they strongly believe it as a physical problem. So it's important for the counselor or the psychologist to address these beliefs before we actually work on the other techniques. So mainly we need to, as a first step, we need to help the clients understand what is the problem and what is not the problem. That it is a psychological and it is not a physical problem is the first step. So helping them acknowledge this might help them to move on in complying, because most of the times these clients or the family members when they bring them to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, generally they come with a strong feel that it is not a psychological condition and they don't need counseling. So it's important to build a good rapport with the client and help them understand how the bodily sensations are connected with the mind reaction, and then slowly over a period of time, by using behavioral experiments, by helping them to look at the alternate ways of how their own physical symptoms that are produced can also happen when there is a psychological stress. So it's a slow and steady, a long-term kind of a condition where the counseling is required for at least 3 to 4 months. In some conditions it can be more than that. So medically, if you look at, the relief is mainly symptomatic. If they have headache, medication is prescribed for the headache. So the main address of the psychological component, whatever the stress life event that they are going through, has to be addressed by working on their belief system. So you have to also, one has to also look at whether they have made any dietary changes. Some of them with hypertension or headache, they might be stopping complete exercise thinking that it might worsen the situation. So you need to inquire, or we need to look at whether any diet or exercise changes are being made, and then help them look at the condition as more psychological than physical. Working with their belief system also needs to look at what maintaining factors. There are certain maintaining factors that actually make them bring these symptoms. Like say for example, someone who is having a high BP, and then when it is being diagnosed say 10 years or 15 years back, and then when they have heard the news of someone's losing life and all that, naturally there will be a little bit of anxiety, and then the BP might shoot up. So this is how information where selectively attended to might actually increase the BP, and then they consider that their hypertension has worsened. So this is how the repetition happens, and they have this typical attention seeking or reassurance seeking behavior, especially with the family members, where by repeatedly asking them for reassurance, or by expressing their dysfunction in handling the normal day-to-day life activities, will actually maintain the problem. So relaxation techniques, working on their belief systems, and helping the clients see the stressful events as the reason for reappearance of these symptoms, all these components will help them recover completely, provided if we are able to gain their trust and then help them to understand the condition by more explanation and by helping them giving relevant information. So this is what I wanted to explain today about these somatoform disorders or bodily disorders expressed because of the psychological component. Thank you.